Welcome to the 2020 National Honor Society Induction Ceremony. We are gathered here virtually to formally recognize those students who have been selected by the faculty of our school for successfully completing their candidacy and are being inducted as new members of our NHS chapter. For current members and those former members who may be among our guests, we hope this will serve to remind you of the standards of excellence you too are charged with maintaining as members of the nation's oldest, largest, and most prestigious student recognition program.
Our chapter is proud to have been inducting new members since 1956, and with today's ceremony indicates the continuing emphasis on excellence that we represent for our school and community. Throughout the year, members of our chapter serve as role models for other students. In addition to the strong academic records which establish the eligibility for membership, our chapter members are leaders in many student organizations, and we serve our school and community through many activities, such as this year's outdoor classroom refurbishment. We are proud of this record of student leadership and success, and we welcome these new members who bring new energy in support of our continuing work as NHS members. At this time, I would like to introduce today's guest speaker, Mr. Scott Orndorff. Mr. Orndorff was born and raised in Waynesburg. At 26 years of age, he has accomplished many things, such as a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from the University of Pittsburgh, and three-time ACC Academic All-Conference for his outstanding athletic and academic career. Mr. Orndorff is currently attending the Allegheny County Police Training Academy, pursuing his Act 120 certification to become a police officer. Please welcome Mr. Scott Orndorff.
Hello, everyone. My name is Scott Orndorff. I was asked by a few of your students to say a few words for your National Honor Society induction ceremony. I would much rather have done this in person, but due to the global pandemic and that kind of came out of left field, we're going to have to do it this way through the internet, which is fine. But it's strange times we're living in, so this is as good a time as any. I'm glad to be able to do it this way to you guys and be able to give you a few words and hopefully you take something away from it. But first off, I'd like to tell you all about who I am for those of you who probably don't know. My name is Scott Orndorff. Like I said, I was born and raised in Waynesburg. Grew up right by the high school. I went to Waynesburg from kindergarten through 8th grade. Now I live just outside of Pittsburgh. Some of you probably know that I'm actually the younger brother of Mrs. Pierce, who is a science teacher at your school. So you might have seen a picture of me or something in her classroom at some point in your career. But, first I'd like to just start off by saying congratulations. The National Honor Society is something that, it really is a great honor for you. And I know some people might not think it is. They might think it's just something to maybe put on an application for college or something. But it is something, it's not something to be taken lightly. You don't just show up, sign up, and then they give it to you. It takes a lot of hard work, something you've been building up for your whole school and career, whether you realize it or not. And you definitely should be proud of where you've gotten to up to this point. Tonight, I chose to kind of touch on all four of the four pillars for the National Honor Society. And then the big thing about me, I'm a big quotes guy. I like to, when someone a lot smarter than me says something that kind of resonates with me, I like to, always try to keep in mind and try to learn from words of those people who've come before us. So I apologize in advance. There's going to be a lot of quotes in this. But we're going to get started. The first pillar is scholarship. And so my quote for scholarship is by Ralph Waldo Emerson, who is a philosopher and a poet. The quote is, "Scholarship is to be created, not by compulsion, but by awakening a pure interest in knowledge." And, for many, going to school and doing the work is something that they feel they're forced to do. There are those like you who do more than just, you don't just show up, get the work done, and you go. I had a coach in college, he used to call that checking the box, and that's something that I kind of, at first I didn't really understand it, but then as I got older and I saw different types of people, I started to get what that means. And somebody who checks the box is someone who, they just do what they have to do, they go through the motions, they get the job done to just say they completed it, and then they move on. So did I go to class? Yes, check the box. Did I do my homework? Yes, check the box. Did I pass? Yes, check the box. But it takes a certain type of individual to take the extra step and to strive to be the best at what you set out to do. And you may not realize it now, but you've set a precedent for yourself for how you approach things in life moving forward. You know, how you treat something like high school math, while it may seem second nature or something unimportant, those are the kind of traits that will follow you through high school, college, and your adult life afterwards. You know, growing up in my family, it was always kind of expected of us to, you know, get good grades. It wasn't like our parents had to push us like, yeah, did you get all A's? And it was really more of like, you better have gotten all A's. And if you didn't, we kind of understand why. You can ask Mrs. Pierce for that because she knows all too well what kind of thing happens in our house when you get lower than an A, because I think she did get one B in her whole life. So you'll have to ask her about that next time you see her. So that, I mean, I think scholarship is where the NHS kind of based itself on. You know, you can't do anything if you don't do well in school and you don't take it seriously. It's going to affect you exponentially going through life. And I think scholarship is kind of the foundation for what the National Honor Society, you know, represents. So the next pillar is leadership. My quote for leadership was by it was actually kind of wasn't even a quote, but it was a quote from a speech that was supposed to be given by John F. Kennedy in Dallas in 1963, which for those of you who probably already know, that was actually where he was assassinated. So this was a speech he was supposed to give during his trip there. And it says, leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. You know, leadership and learning, that basically means that those two things go hand in hand. You know, in order to be a leader, you have to be trusted to represent and sometimes make decisions for a group. In order to be an effective leader, you have to always be taking in information and trying to better yourself for the good of the group. You know, whether you like it or not, being chosen for NHS makes you stand out as a leader in your school. You know, it's not something that's easy to accomplish, because if it were, everybody would do it. The whole school would be in NHS. Every student in the country would be in NHS, but it's not easy. And you guys, you know, taking the initiative and putting in the work in school and outside school, being in, you know, even just going through the application process for NHS and going through the selection, you've kind of made, whether you like it or not, you stand out as a leader among the students in your school, and the teachers see it, administration sees it, and I'm sure, and I know a lot of other students see it, even if they might not like it. But you know, if they wanted to be in your shoes, they could have done the extra work, put in the extra hours that you did, and you get to reap the benefits of all that work. I think a big thing about leadership for me is when I got to college, it was the first time in my life that I kind of had, you know, more of a spotlight on me, and I kind of had to change the way I perceive myself. And I've always been kind of a lead by example kind of guy. I never really was a rah-rah person. I'm not very vocal. But, you know, so the way I carried myself and the way I expressed myself to others is how I kind of would choose to do any time I had to lead. That's how I chose to do it. And I think it goes by the way you carry yourself every day. So they told us that the way you live when you're somewhat of importance, like being in NHS, you're kind of living in a fishbowl in your school. And what living in a fishbowl means is you think about a fish that's in a bowl, and it kind of gets there and it sees whatever little world it sees, but everybody on the outside can watch its every move. So, you know, everybody's watching you. You know, they're waiting for you. They're waiting to see what you do. They're seeing the example you set, and they're choosing whether to follow it or not. So it's important that you kind of take that leadership role and don't take it lightly, and stress how important it is for you guys to, you know, stand out and, you know, give your school a good name for moving forward, because it's up to you guys, because if you guys don't do it, there's no other students that are probably willing to. So the next pillar is community service. So my quote for community service is, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. That's by an anthropologist named Margaret Mead. So, you know, we come from a small town. I'm from the same town as all of you guys. And the one thing I think that keeps a small community close is by helping one another. You know, it's always important to give back to those who are less fortunate than you. In college and after, it was stressed on me early and often the importance of giving back. You know, I was constantly reminded of how fortunate of a position I found myself in, and how much it would mean to me and so many people for me to lend a helping hand. It can be the most small, minor, seemingly insignificant thing, but it can mean a whole lot to some people. Whether you volunteer at a charity, donate old clothes, donate food to a food bank, or just take time out of your day to help a person, that goes a long way. And when you finally see that for the first time, it really kind of changes how you perceive the world around you and how you see people. And it really has a positive impact on my life many times. Because the world can be a cruel and unforgiving place, but when you see acts of charity and goodness, how much positivity it can bring, it reminds you that there's still plenty of good in the world. There's another quote by Mahatma Gandhi. He says, "Be the change you want to see in the world." So, to me, that means if you want to see the world change for the better, then it starts with you. You can't just sit back and expect things to change and expect things to get better unless you're doing something yourself to kind of make that happen. And that's something that I think we all need to live by. Everybody can take some initiative, even if it's small. If it's the most minor thing, the most minor act of kindness you do in your day, I think it can. I'm telling you, I've done soup kitchens, I've wrapped presents for kids at Christmas, I've done I've done book drives, food drives, I've done all kinds of stuff, and I'm telling you, it's the little things, the little conversations you have with people, like that's the kind of things you remember, and that you see how someone might brighten up, and just by the fact that you're talking to them and ask them how they're doing. It's little things like that, and that can make a lasting impact on their life. Help get them out of a bad spot that they might find themselves in at the time, and it's something that's so minor that can change someone for the better exponentially moving forward. So community service, I know NHS stresses the amount of community service all of its members are doing in the community, and it's something that I think we lose sight of sometimes, and it's something that you always need to, if you can. I mean, everyone has busy schedules, but if you have any small thing you can do, I think if you're capable of doing it, whether how small it is, I think it's something that we need to kind of focus on. And the last pillar is character. And my quote for character is, be concerned with your character. Be concerned more with your character than with your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are. And that's by John Wooden. He was a famous basketball coach for UCLA. He won, I think, like 9 championships in a row with them in the 60s and 70s. And when I think of character and I think of that quote, the first thing I think of was when I was in high school. I was a sophomore in high school, and I was at a camp at University of Wisconsin. I sat down in a room, and the coach offered me the first scholarship I ever had offered to me for football was at University of Wisconsin. And that same sit down, after he gave me the scholarship offer, it was me and my dad there. He told me, he goes, the one thing I want you to leave here, and I want you to take from before you go home, is you need to be aware of the haters. And at first I thought that was kind of a weird, kind of a cliche thing to say, but as I got older and as I got through high school, college, even after, I learned that was some of the best guidance I ever got from somebody moving forward. I didn't even end up playing for them, but that's something that stuck with me, and I still use to this day. I'm not playing anymore, and I'm kind of thankfully I'm out of the spotlight a lot more than I used to be. But there's always haters out there. There's always going to be people who are trying to put you down, bring you down to their level just to make themselves feel better. It doesn't matter what line of work you do, how successful you are in life. There's always someone below you who's trying to drag you down with them, and the way they do that is to kind of throw jabs at you. They might be big, small, subtle. It might be in your face, but they're always going to be there, and you're never going to get rid of them. And then they're going to say things about you that aren't true, and they're not true. Other people might think they're true, but yourself they're not true. But if the people who really know you and they know your character, they know the real truth. And to me, having character is being true to myself and everything that I do. I mean, it's little things during the day, like just interacting with people in seemingly normal social situations, like how I'm carrying myself, how I think others perceive me. I do everything I can every day to just make sure that if someone who thinks of me or looks at me, they don't have any ill feelings or any bad intentions, or they think there's nothing. I always kind of went by, I don't give people reasons not to like me. So if they don't like me, then I know they're just being a hater, and they have a problem with me that they developed themselves. So I think if that has got me, it's done pretty well for me up to this point. I've had a lot of people from growing up in middle school, high school. There were people that like I could tell they didn't like me. They had a problem with me for whatever reason. I didn't give them a reason to. I don't know if it was out of jealousy or just for for something for them to do. I'm not sure. But as I get older, it's like I know myself that I try my best to be a good person. Everything I do every day, I try to be a good person because I know for me to be able to lay my head down at night and be able to sleep well at night, if I'm doing anything that's hurting somebody or that could possibly hurt somebody, then I need to be able to live with myself every day and more than other people do. So I know if I have good character, then it doesn't matter what other people think of me. It really doesn't. What other people think about you is irrelevant. As long as you are good with yourself and you think in your heart that you're a good person and that you're doing the best by your own self to achieve what you want to achieve, then there's nothing anybody else can say or do that can change the way you feel about yourself. Because you encounter people in life, fake people in life, people that want to put you down, and you just got to be able to block them out. It's impossible not to hear them sometimes, but you just know. Just go about your life. They always say put blinders on, like a horse says, put blinders on. Just keep moving forward, doing what you do, and don't let them affect what you're doing. So those are my 4 pillars. I hope you guys get something out of this. It was a pleasure. I was really thankful that they asked me to talk to you guys. I like talking to younger people, sharing my perspective because I was pretty much. I was your age at one point, and I thought I knew everything. And I know now. As I get older, I realize even like. I know more now, and I'm a much different person today than I was, 2, 3, 4 years ago. I'm a better person now. I'm smarter than I was just yesterday. I know I'm aware of more than I was a week ago. So I'm just very thankful that you guys have asked me to do this. And I think this whole school year, I know a lot of you, it's been weird. Because I'm assuming you all went online learning in some form. I kind of saw firsthand. My wife's a teacher, and I see the effect that it has on the teachers, and I'm sure the students too. Like it's tough. It's a big change. It was a sudden change in the way you go about your life, and I know for the parents, I'm sure it was a struggle for a lot of you trying to figure out, if you have younger kids, like how they're going to get their school done. Who's going to take care of them? I still have to go to work every day. Who's going to take care of them since they're not at school? So, I just want to applaud all of you, the students and family members and teachers for, persevering through all this. It's been a tough time for everybody, and some more than others. But I think we're all getting through it pretty well. And like for me, I'm right now I'm attending the police academy in Allegheny County, and we've been off school. I was about halfway through, and we've been off school for about 2 weeks now. We're just now starting. We're going back in a couple weeks, but we have to follow all these crazy, social distancing and guidelines that just to allow us to even get back to class and get back to learning. So, I feel for all of you. I'm happy to go back. I'm sure a lot of you are, you want to be able to go back to school and see your friends and just get back to life as normal. So, just keep persevering. I think the light's at the end of the tunnel, and we're going to come through this. I think we're going to come through this better than we were before. We're going to see the world a little bit differently than we did before. And, this too shall pass. So I think we'll see things from a lot different perspective, but we're definitely going to be a lot better people coming out of this. So, just stay strong. Again, congratulations on being inducted into the National Honor Society. And that's my speech. Thank you.
It is at this time that we proclaim to all in attendance that membership in the Waynesburg Central High School chapter of the National Honor Society has been earned by these candidates through the effective demonstration of the 4 qualities that serve as standards for the society. The officers of the chapter will now review these qualities for the candidates. We begin with scholarship.
Scholarship denotes a commitment to learning. A student is willing to spend hours in reading and study, knowing the lasting benefits of a cultivated mind. We should continue to learn even when formal education has ended, for human education ends only with the end of life. Knowledge is one great element in life, which leads to the highest success and can be acquired in only one way, through diligence and effort. Learning furnishes the lamp by which we read the past, the torch guiding us to understand the present, and the light that illuminates the future. Candidates have the charge to continually expand their world through the opportunities inherent in scholarship. Next will be service.
My office is service. Service can be established in the routine of the day's work where many opportunities arise to help others, both at school and in the community. A willingness to work for the benefit of those in need, without monetary compensation or public recognition, is the quality we seek in our membership and promote for the entire student body. We are committed to volunteering our time and talents to the creation of a better tomorrow. As Muhammad Ali once said, service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. Next will be leadership.
Leadership should exert a wholesome influence on the school. In taking initiative in the classroom and school activities, the real leaders strive to train and aid others to reach their common goals of success. The price of leadership is sacrifice, the willingness to yield one's personal interests for the interests of others. A leader has self-confidence and will go forward when others hesitate. No matter what power and resources may exist in the school, community, or nation, they are ineffectual without the guidance of a wise leader. Leadership is always needed, thus to lead is a meaningful and substantive charge to each of our members. John Quincy Adams once said, "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader." Next will be character.
Character is the force within the individual that distinguishes each person from others. It creates for each of us our individuality, our goodness. It is that without which no one can respect themselves nor hope to attain respect of others. It is this force of character that guides one through life and, once developed, grows steadily within. Character is achieved and not received. It is the product of constant thought and action, the daily striving to make the right choice. The problem of character is the problem of self-control. We must be in reality what we wish to appear to others, to be rather than to seem. By demonstrating such qualities as respect, responsibility, trustworthiness, fairness, caring, and citizenship, we may hope to prove by example that we value character. The famed basketball coach, John Wooden, once said, "Be more concerned with your character than your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are."
At this time, I will announce the names of the 2020 Waynesburg Central High School chapter of the National Honor Society inductees. Seniors, Aaron Heinerman. Brandon Trutenik. Juniors, Luca Augustine. Morgan Barnes. Rowan Bartow. Mackenzie Booth. Riley Bowers. Megan Braun. William Hayden Church. Ashanti Cole. Brooke Koss. Sadie Davis. Ryan DeRosier. Aaron Fitch. Anna Gump. Anna Havrilesko. Paige Helms. Jonah Higley. Cameron Hicksonball. Sydney Jones. Grace Kelsey. Rhea Kioski. Cole Kindervater. Abigail Lipscomb. Jenna Martin. Gabriel McConville. Tyler Mackay. Riley Moorhead. Brady Rhodes. Emma Robinson. Kayla Rush. Nathaniel Stevenson. Tyler Switolski. Emily Woods. Now will the new inductees please rise if able, raise your right hand, and prepare to repeat the pledge. Please join me in reciting the pledge, NHS. I do solemnly pledge that I will faithfully follow to the best of my ability the precepts of the National Honor Society, character, service, leadership, and scholarship. I will always keep before me the ideal of helping to raise the scholarship of Waynesburg Central High School to higher and higher levels. I will try at all times to conduct myself in such a way that my actions in and out of school shall reflect pride in the school that I represent. This concludes our induction ceremony. Congratulations to the new members and their families. Enjoy and take pride in carrying on the strong and rich traditions of the Waynesburg Central High School chapter of the National Honor Society. In addition, thanks to all those who made this event possible: the CGSD administration, board members, teachers, secretarial staff, and custodial staff. Also, the NHS sponsors and officers. As our program concludes, please enjoy the slideshow of our new inductees again. Stay safe and have an enjoyable summer.